Typemock.
Do you see, it's an argument we had in the office in one of the former webcasts. Do you see more people in the Java world doing unit testing than in the .NET world?
I don't know what the population looks like. I don't know if there is a difference there. The Java world does a lot of unit testing, although honestly, I think the vast majority of code is still written untest-driven, without test-driven development in the Java world. And the .NET community, I teach an awful lot of .NET companies how to do test-driven development. I don't think I can make the distinction. But my gut tells me that, we are doing perhaps 10% of our projects, whether Java or .NET, using test-driven development. I was at a conference earlier this week, and I had a batch of 30 people in front of me, 30 software developers, half of them Java, half of them .NET. And I asked this room, how many of you are doing test-driven development? And not a single one of them was. One guy did, this kind of thing. So I'm sort of doing test-driven development. But the rest of them all looked at me with blank stares. No, we're not doing that. So, the message has a long ways to go.
You think there's an openness? That the openness to unit testing is different? More accepting?
Between the two communities?
Yeah.
The .NET community and the Java community have both put in a lot of effort to create the tools and the frameworks for test-driven development, to create the tutorials, to push the message. So you've got Charlie Poole, who's doing the NUnit stuff. Microsoft themselves have created a test tool of sorts.
Two, actually.
So I think there's plenty of effort in the .NET space to push the idea of test-driven development out. I think that's okay. It just we've got to get to all these developers and teach them about it and convince them that it's a good idea.
So it's an openness within Microsoft, not just out in the community.
An openness in the Microsoft community. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's Microsoft.
Okay.
Because Microsoft's motives are different from the community of Microsoft developers.
Okay.
This is just, you can't look at a company and say that the company is the one who's going to teach you best practices, a company like Microsoft. They're going to do whatever it takes for them to make money, and it's so long as best practices are in their interest, fine. If they decide at some point that best practices aren't in their interest, they'll abandon them, just like that. So, nothing wrong with that, again, just different community.
Well, let's hope they don't, because I think they're really helping themselves right now with pushing best practices out.
Good.
You're doing a lot of conferences, a lot of keynotes. Where can people see you in the next few months?
Next few months, let's see, I'm going to be at QCon in London next week, I think. Yeah, next week. I will be at the Norwegian Developers Conference in June. Where else am I going to be? A bunch of things coming up here. I will be... I'm pulling up my calendar and take a look at my calendar and see if I can get it on the screen so that I can see where I'm going to be. I'm at EclipseCon in San Francisco on the 25th of March. And, I'm going to be at the Philadelphia Emerging Technology Conference. I'll be doing a keynote there on the 8th of April. I'll be at ACCU in Oxford the week of the 14th of April. Let's see, what else? And the Better Software and Agile Development, that's in Las Vegas in June 7th, 8th, and 9th. I'll be keynoting at the Rails Conference, June 10th. And then there's the Norwegian Developers Conference, the middle to end of June. And I think that's as far ahead as I've got my schedule. So see me in all those places.
Which one of the conferences do you like best? And why?
I don't know that I have a favorite conference.
What makes a good conference for you?
Code. Simple as that. If there's a lot of code at the conference, if we're talking about technology issues, I think it's a good conference. If the people who have come there to discuss how better to write software, I think that's a good conference. I get frustrated with the conferences where the topic has changed to how long should our iteration length be this week, and maybe we should be doing Kanban instead of Agile, and what's happening in the Scrum world. That whole thing makes me nuts. I was a signatory to the Agile Alliance. I actually called the meeting of the Agile Manifesto. I thought it was a good idea at the time. I still think it's a good idea. I like the Agile conferences, but it makes me nuts when what we focus on year after year after year after year is the same stuff, where there's all this technology happening in other places. So
Okay.
that was a vent. Sorry, I just ranted.
It's okay. If you don't like, tell me. I'll cut it out of the interview.
No, it's all right. You leave it in there.
Okay, so first of all, I want to thank you for your time. And,
Oh, you're very welcome.
Hope we meet again soon.
Yes.
And here I stop the recording, I think.
All right.
Later.